Attraction is often misunderstood as something that can be engineered with the right words, gestures, or techniques. Many people grow up believing that if they memorize the perfect line or follow a certain formula, they can spark instant interest. But this way of thinking treats attraction like a performance rather than a human experience. In reality, attraction grows most reliably in environments where emotional safety is present. Emotional safety means that a person feels comfortable being themselves without fear of ridicule, pressure, or judgment. When a woman feels emotionally safe around someone, her mind is not busy scanning for threats or red flags. Instead, it is free to engage, explore, and connect. Emotional safety begins with how someone carries themselves in conversation. It shows up in patience, in the willingness to listen without interrupting, and in the absence of pressure to impress. When interactions feel rushed or forced, people tend to become guarded. They may smile politely, but internally they are evaluating whether they can trust the situation. On the other hand, when someone communicates calmly and respectfully, it signals that there is no hidden agenda. This calm presence allows attraction to develop naturally because trust is quietly forming in the background. One of the most powerful aspects of emotional safety is predictability. Predictability does not mean being boring. It means being consistent in behavior and tone. When a woman senses that someone is steady and respectful from moment to moment, she does not have to expend energy trying to interpret mixed signals. Mixed signals create tension and uncertainty, which can feel unsettling. Emotional safety removes that tension. It replaces it with clarity, and clarity makes it easier for genuine interest to surface. Another important element is acceptance. Emotional safety communicates, often without words, that differences in opinion or personality will not lead to criticism or dismissal. When people feel accepted, they are more likely to share their thoughts, humor, and vulnerabilities. This openness is where real attraction often takes root. It is difficult to feel drawn to someone while simultaneously feeling judged by them. Acceptance creates space for authenticity, and authenticity is what allows two people to see each other clearly. There is also a strong connection between emotional safety and respect for boundaries. When someone respects personal space, pacing, and comfort levels, they demonstrate awareness and empathy. This respect reassures a woman that her feelings and limits will be honored. Without that reassurance, even the most charming words can feel hollow. Emotional safety is built through small, consistent actions that show consideration. Over time, these actions communicate reliability, and reliability is deeply attractive because it suggests emotional maturity. It is important to recognize that emotional safety is not about suppressing personality or avoiding all risk. It is about creating a foundation where both people can express themselves freely. Humor, passion, and spontaneity can all exist within a safe emotional environment. In fact, they often flourish there. When someone feels secure, they are more willing to laugh, to tease playfully, and to engage in meaningful conversation. Attraction thrives in this balance between comfort and excitement. Ultimately, emotional safety shifts the focus away from trying to win someone over and toward building a genuine connection. It encourages a mindset of curiosity rather than performance. Instead of asking, "How can I impress this person?" the question becomes, "How can I understand this person?" That shift changes the entire tone of an interaction. It transforms it from a transaction into a dialogue. And in that dialogue, attraction has the space it needs to grow organically. When emotional safety is present, attraction stops being a game of strategy and becomes a natural response to feeling valued and understood. People are drawn to those who make them feel at ease in their own skin. That sense of ease is not created by clever lines or rehearsed charm. It is created by empathy, consistency, and respect. These qualities form the quiet architecture of emotional safety, and within that structure, meaningful attraction can take root and deepen. Genuine respect carries a weight that scripted charm can never replicate. Scripted charm relies on memorized phrases, calculated gestures, and carefully managed impressions. It is designed to produce a reaction, often focusing more on the speaker's performance than on the other person's experience. Genuine respect, by contrast, is rooted in how someone truly views and treats another person. It is not a tactic, it is an attitude. And because it is grounded in sincerity, it communicates something that rehearsed charm cannot, that the other person has inherent value beyond the moment. When a woman senses genuine respect, she feels recognized as a whole person rather than as a target of persuasion. Scripted charm can sometimes feel polished on the surface, but it often carries a subtle sense of distance. It can create the impression that the interaction is following a familiar template rather than unfolding naturally. People are remarkably perceptive when it comes to authenticity. Even if they cannot immediately explain why something feels off, they may sense that the conversation lacks depth. Genuine respect eliminates that distance by focusing attention on the person in front of you, not on a mental script. Respect shows itself in small, consistent behaviors. It appears in the way someone listens without dismissing opinions, even when they disagree. It appears in the patience to let a conversation develop at its own pace, rather than steering it aggressively toward a desired outcome. These behaviors signal that the interaction is not a competition or a performance. Instead, it is a shared space where both individuals are equally important. That sense of equality is deeply attractive because it fosters trust and mutual appreciation. Scripted charm often aims to impress quickly. It seeks immediate validation, which can create pressure within the interaction. When someone feels pressured to respond positively, they may become cautious or guarded. Genuine respect removes that pressure. It communicates that there is no rush and no expectation to perform. This absence of pressure allows a woman to relax and engage more openly. Relaxation is a crucial ingredient in attraction because it enables genuine emotions to surface without interference. Another key difference lies in intention. Scripted charm is typically outcome-focused. It is concerned with achieving a specific reaction, such as admiration or approval. Genuine respect is process-focused. It values the quality of the interaction itself rather than treating it as a means to an end. When someone approaches a conversation with the intention of understanding and appreciating the other person, the interaction becomes richer and more meaningful. Attraction grows more naturally in these conditions because it is supported by real connection rather than by surface-level performance. Genuine respect also involves acknowledging individuality. It means recognizing that each woman has her own experiences, preferences, and boundaries. Scripted charm tends to generalize, applying the same techniques regardless of the person involved. Respect, however, adapts. It pays attention to verbal and nonverbal cues, adjusting tone and behavior accordingly. This attentiveness demonstrates emotional intelligence, which is a powerful component of attraction. It shows that the speaker is not simply following a formula, but is actively engaging with the unique person before them. Over time, the limitations of scripted charm become more apparent. While it may create brief moments of interest, it struggles to sustain deeper connection. Genuine respect, on the other hand, builds a stable foundation for ongoing interaction. It encourages honesty and openness, allowing both people to present themselves authentically. This authenticity strengthens attraction because it replaces uncertainty with clarity. When someone feels respected consistently, they are more likely to invest emotionally in the relationship. Ultimately, genuine respect resonates because it aligns words with actions. It is expressed not only through what is said, but through how it is said and how consistently it is demonstrated. People are drawn to those who treat them with consideration and dignity. Scripted charm may sparkle momentarily, but respect endures. It creates an environment where attraction is not forced or manufactured, but emerges as a natural response to feeling valued. In that environment, connection becomes deeper, conversations become more meaningful, and the interaction gains a sense of authenticity that no script can imitate. Feeling heard is one of the most fundamental human needs, yet it is surprisingly rare in everyday interactions. Many conversations operate on a surface level, where people exchange words without truly absorbing what the other person is saying. When a woman feels genuinely heard, something shifts in the dynamic. She experiences a sense of validation and recognition that goes beyond simple politeness. This experience fosters emotional closeness, and emotional closeness is a powerful driver of connection. To feel heard is to sense that your thoughts and emotions are being taken seriously. It is not just about someone remaining silent while you speak. It is about their active engagement with your words. Active engagement shows up in attentive body language, thoughtful responses, and relevant questions. These signals communicate that the listener is mentally and emotionally present. When someone demonstrates this level of presence, it reassures the speaker that their perspective matters. That reassurance creates warmth and trust, both of which are essential for a strong emotional connection. One reason feeling heard is so impactful is that it reduces the sense of isolation that people often carry. Everyone has moments where they feel misunderstood or overlooked. When a conversation breaks that pattern and offers genuine understanding, it stands out. A woman who feels heard is more likely to associate the interaction with comfort and relief. She is not expending energy trying to clarify herself repeatedly or defend her point of view. Instead, she can relax into the conversation, knowing that her message is landing. This relaxation allows her personality to emerge more fully, deepening the interaction. Listening that creates connection involves more than agreement. It is possible to hear someone deeply even when perspectives differ. The key is conveying respect for their experience. When a listener acknowledges emotions and reflects back what they understand, they show empathy. Empathy bridges gaps between individuals by highlighting shared humanity. It says, in effect, that the speaker's inner world is worth exploring. This exploration strengthens emotional bonds because it encourages openness and reciprocity. Another important aspect of feeling heard is the pace of conversation. In fast, moving exchanges, people may interrupt or rush to conclusions. This can unintentionally signal impatience or disinterest. Slowing down allows space for ideas to unfold naturally. When a listener gives that space willingly, it communicates patience and care. A woman who senses that her words are not being hurried feels respected. This respect enhances her willingness to engage more deeply, creating a feedback loop of mutual attention and interest. Feeling heard also supports vulnerability. Sharing personal thoughts or experiences involves a degree of risk. If someone anticipates dismissal or indifference, they are less likely to open up. But when a listener consistently demonstrates attentiveness and understanding, the environment becomes safer for vulnerability. Vulnerability is a cornerstone of meaningful connection. It invites authenticity and fosters intimacy in a way that superficial conversation cannot. As vulnerability increases, so does the emotional richness of the interaction. There is also a cognitive dimension to being heard. When someone articulates their thoughts and receives reflective feedback, they often gain clarity about their own feelings. The listener becomes a mirror that helps organize and validate internal experiences. This process can be subtly empowering. A woman who feels clearer and more understood after a conversation is likely to view that interaction positively. She may associate the listener with insight and support, qualities that enhance attraction and connection. Importantly, making someone feel heard requires genuine curiosity. It involves setting aside the urge to dominate the conversation or steer it toward predetermined topics. Curiosity keeps attention anchored in the present moment. It encourages questions that deepen understanding rather than redirect focus. When curiosity guides listening, the conversation becomes a collaborative exploration rather than a competition for airtime. Over time, repeated experiences of being heard build a strong emotional foundation. Each attentive interaction reinforces the sense that communication with this person is rewarding and safe. This consistency nurtures trust and encourages continued openness. Trust, once established, allows connection to grow steadily. Attraction that emerges from such a foundation tends to be more resilient because it is rooted in shared understanding. Ultimately, feeling heard transforms a simple exchange of words into a meaningful encounter. It signals that the listener values not just the conversation, but the person behind it. That signal resonates deeply. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel understood, because understanding affirms their identity and worth. When a woman feels truly heard, the interaction moves beyond surface charm and enters the realm of genuine emotional connection, where attraction can develop with depth and authenticity. Active listening is one of the clearest ways to show another person that they matter. It goes beyond simply hearing words. It is the deliberate act of giving someone your full attention and responding in a way that shows you are processing what they share. In a world filled with distractions, where many conversations compete with phones, notifications, and wandering thoughts, undivided attention has become rare. When a woman experiences active listening, she feels singled out in a positive way. She senses that in that moment, she is the priority. That feeling carries significant emotional weight and strengthens connection. Active listening begins with presence. Presence means setting aside internal distractions and focusing fully on the interaction. It requires a conscious decision to pause your own mental commentary and resist the urge to plan your next response while the other person is speaking. When someone maintains steady eye contact, nods naturally, and orients their body toward the speaker, they communicate engagement without saying a word. These nonverbal cues reassure a woman that her message is being received. She does not have to compete for attention or repeat herself to be understood. Another essential component of active listening is reflection. Reflection involves paraphrasing or summarizing what the speaker has said to confirm understanding. This is not about mimicking their words, but about capturing the essence of their message. When a listener reflects thoughtfully, it demonstrates effort and care. It shows that they are not passively absorbing information, but actively working to understand it. For the speaker, hearing their thoughts echoed back creates a sense of clarity and validation. It confirms that their ideas are landing accurately, which deepens trust. Questions also play a critical role in active listening. Open-ended questions invite elaboration and signal curiosity. They encourage the speaker to explore their thoughts more fully rather than offering short, surface-level responses. When a woman is asked questions that relate directly to what she has shared, she feels that her perspective is valued. These questions act as bridges, guiding the conversation toward greater depth. They transform the interaction from a simple exchange into a collaborative dialogue, where both participants contribute meaningfully. Importantly, active listening requires emotional attunement. Emotional attunement is the ability to notice and respond to the feelings underlying the words. Sometimes what matters most is not the factual content of a statement, but the emotion attached to it. A listener who acknowledges these emotions demonstrates empathy. Simple acknowledgments of feeling can have a powerful impact. They communicate that the listener is tuned in not just to the story, but to the experience behind it. This emotional recognition strengthens the bond between speaker and listener. Patience is another hallmark of active listening. Conversations unfold at different rhythms, and not every thought is expressed perfectly on the first attempt. Allowing pauses without rushing to fill them gives the speaker space to think and articulate. These pauses can feel uncomfortable to those accustomed to rapid exchanges, but they are often where deeper insights emerge. When a listener tolerates silence comfortably, it signals respect for the speaker's process. A woman who senses this patience is more likely to feel supported and unhurried. Active listening also involves managing reactions. It is natural to have opinions and emotional responses during a conversation, but expressing them too quickly can shift focus away from the speaker. A skilled listener regulates these impulses, choosing moments carefully to share their perspective. This restraint is not about suppressing authenticity. It is about prioritizing understanding before responding. By doing so, the listener ensures that the speaker feels fully acknowledged before the dialogue expands. Consistency amplifies the impact of active listening. When it becomes a habitual approach rather than a one-time effort, it establishes a pattern of reliability. A woman who repeatedly experiences attentive listening begins to associate the listener with comfort and openness. She knows that conversations with this person will be met with engagement rather than distraction. This expectation fosters a sense of security that enhances emotional connection over time. Active listening ultimately communicates value. It says that the speaker's words, thoughts, and feelings are important enough to command full attention. This message resonates deeply because it addresses a universal desire to be recognized. When someone feels valued in this way, they are more inclined to reciprocate with openness and interest. The conversation becomes a shared space where both individuals feel seen and appreciated. Through presence, reflection, curiosity, emotional attunement, patience, and thoughtful response, active listening transforms ordinary interactions into meaningful connections. It is not a performance or a technique to be applied mechanically. It is an expression of genuine interest in another person's inner world. When a woman encounters this level of engagement, she experiences a sense of importance and understanding that strengthens emotional ties. Over time, these ties form the foundation of a connection that feels authentic, balanced, and deeply human.